Welcome to Faith Story Hub. Today, we bring you one of the most powerful and inspiring stories in the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. Imagine standing on a battlefield. The ground trembles beneath the feet of soldiers. The air is thick with tension. On one side stands the army of Israel, and on the other side stands the army of the Philistines. But among the Philistines, there is one warrior who terrifies everyone. His name is Goliath. Goliath was no ordinary man. He was a giant over 9 feet tall. His armor weighed over 100 pounds, and his spear was as thick as a tree branch. Every morning and every evening, Goliath would step forward and shout at the army of Israel. "Choose a man to fight me. If he defeats me, we will serve you, but if I defeat him, you will serve us." The soldiers of Israel were terrified. Even the great King Saul was afraid. Day after day, for 40 days, the giant mocked them. No one dared to fight him. Far away from the battlefield, there lived a young shepherd boy named David. He spent his days caring for his father's sheep in the fields. One day, David's father sent him to the battlefield to deliver food to his older brothers who were soldiers. When David arrived at the camp, he heard the giant Goliath shouting his challenge again. The soldiers trembled with fear, but David was shocked. He asked the men around him, "Who is this Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" David could not understand why everyone was afraid. Soon, word reached King Saul that a young boy was willing to face the giant. Saul looked at David and said, "You are only a boy, and Goliath has been a warrior since his youth." But David replied with confidence, "I have been taking care of my father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came to attack the flock, I chased it away and rescued the sheep. The Lord who rescued me from the lion and the bear will rescue me from this giant." David's faith was strong. Saul finally agreed and offered David his royal armor. But when David tried it on, he realized it was too heavy. He was not used to wearing armor. So David took it off. Instead, David picked up his staff and walked down to a nearby stream. There, he chose 5 smooth stones and placed them in his shepherd's bag. With only his sling in his hand, David walked toward the giant. When Goliath saw him coming, he laughed. "Am I a dog," the giant shouted, "that you come at me with sticks?" Goliath cursed David and threatened to feed him to the birds. But David stood firm. He said, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." Then the battle began. Goliath moved forward to attack. David quickly reached into his bag and took out 1 stone. He placed it in his sling and swung it with all his strength. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath directly in the forehead. The giant stumbled, and then he fell to the ground with a mighty crash. The battlefield fell silent. Then suddenly, the army of Israel shouted with victory. A young shepherd boy had defeated a giant. This story reminds us of something very powerful. David did not win because he was the strongest. He did not win because he had the best weapons. David won because he had faith in God. In life, we all face giants, problems, fears, and challenges that seem impossible to overcome. But the story of David and Goliath teaches us that when we trust in God, even the biggest giants can fall. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe to Faith Story Hub for more inspiring Bible stories that bring the scriptures to life. And always remember, no giant is too big when God is on your side.